Say hi to Ellie. She is our newest trainee and she is doing so well. She gets along so good with Hunter. They want to play all day, but she is learning all of her commands so quickly and so good. And she's such a cute pup. Happy New Year. 2025 is finally here, and honestly I feel like I'm a little bit late in bringing this video to you, but I really took the first week of the year just to kind of, I don't know, be and try to get myself in order. The dogs are playing behind me. Anyway, so I took the first week of the year to kind of, I don't know, catch up, recuperate, rest, try to get some things in order, or at least a plan of how I wanted to do things moving forward. And initially I wanted to post this video on the 6th, but it's coming to you on Thursday the 9th, I believe, is tomorrow instead. And I hope that that's okay with you. But I just wanted to take a moment and chat about my intentions for 2025 when it comes to plants and my plant collection. By the way, hi, hello, I'm Claudia. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're back, welcome back. I appreciate you so much. I share everything houseplants, lots of plant chores, unboxings, and of course, any tip and trick I might learn along the way so that you can grow lush, beautiful plants in your home too. This is going to be a new type of video from me to you on this channel. I'm going to be more just sitting and chatting with you about what my goals, plans, and intentions are for my plants and my collection this year. I'm usually showing you a plant or a group of plants or working with plants. But yeah, we're just going to be more chat style, and I hope that that's okay with you. Every year I like to set intentions and goals and actionable steps that are going to help me achieve those. And I've been doing that now since I think like 2017. I came across this article that was titled "Have the Best Year of Your Life" or something very close to that. And it really just transformed the way that I started approaching a new year. Ever since, because of my reflections and intention settings and actionable steps, I feel like, I don't know, much more put together or at least purposeful in the year. And yeah, I really love being able to track my progress and what I'm doing, shift accordingly if I need to. I do that for all aspects of my life. I will obviously only be sharing the planty portion with you, and mostly so that you can help hold me accountable. I always find that when I share things like that, whether it's like a workout challenge I'm doing or something like that, and I share it with you, I am much more likely to follow through and stay accountable of my actions. I'll start by briefly mentioning that even though I did do this whole thing last year, or I guess at the end of 23 for 2024, I really feel like 2024 was in shambles for me. Like there was just a lot of different things going on in my personal life that disrupted a lot of the goals, plans, and intentions that I had. And then I just kind of abandoned everything, and I was just like floating through the year, not really, I don't know. It was just, it felt chaotic and disorganized. So this year, my biggest focus is to be intentional, and that's in a lot of different ways, but as it pertains to plants, we'll go through what that means for me. So being intentional, I feel like a lot of people, or like this word just kind of gets thrown around, but what I mean as far as being intentional with my plants is I want to be intentional about what plants I have, what plants I choose to keep, what plants I choose to propagate, what plants I bring into my home. I don't want to be so impulsive like I was last year. I mean, I bought so many plants last year, crossed almost every plant off my wish list, which was a lot of fun. But I also just very much noticed that my favorite plants of the year, none were my wish list plants. So, and not that I don't like the wish list plants that I was able to cross off my list last year, but I got all my wish list plants plus many more that I didn't necessarily need to get, and I have moved on from some of those even already. So instead of being impulsive and just getting new plants for the thrill of it and the excitement, I just want to be more intentional. Some of the things I want to ask myself when thinking about or wanting to purchase a new plant is, what spot do I want to display this plant in? Why do I want it? And do I really want it? Or am I really just looking for the thrill of like a new plant? Or maybe I was influenced, someone else posted it, and then all of a sudden I just got in this hype and super focused. I have to have it, but do I really? So those are just some of the things that I want to keep in mind going forward. As far as the plants I want to keep, I will be doing, I want to say, a massive declutter of my plants, although I don't feel like I'm cluttered with plants per se, but I do think I have a lot of plants that I'm not necessarily loving. I already have a list of 5 plants that I know I'm going to be moving on from. So I'm gonna be walking through my collection, and maybe I'll make this into a video. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that. But I'll walk through my collection and just kind of, you know, ask myself a couple questions. Do I love this plant? Do I find myself neglecting this plant? Because often when I'm not loving a plant, it's just easy to neglect. And then it becomes this whole like snowball of issues with that plant. And then I get caught into like the rehab because I feel bad and I should be keeping it and making it better before I pass it on to another home, etc. But I don't want to keep plants because I'm feeling guilty. I want to just keep plants that I truly love and enjoy and care for. I find that when, for example, my Monstera albo, those don't ever go super thirsty. I am always on top of their pest prevention spray. They always get my nutrient-rich cocktail, whereas my Syndapsis exotica, even though it's front and center on my wall, doesn't like goes thirsty all the time. I rarely feed or fertilize it, and it's mostly to do not because I don't like the plant or would love to have a nice, beautiful, lush one, but I'm just not really enjoying it that much. So it should just move on to a home of, you know, where someone else might appreciate it, or even the compost bin, and that's okay too. And the second part of this, like decluttering my collection, is making an actionable plan with a deadline to remove them from my space. So whether I know who they're going to, or I'm offering them on their local Facebook group, or to my friends over at Plantitas, but they need to be out by a certain date, and I'm giving myself till January 31st that I would like this decluttering of my plants to happen, and they need to be out of the house. And if by that date, for example, I was hoping someone would want it but nobody does, then it'll go in the compost bin and it's gonna be okay. And then in terms of being intentional with the plants that I do have and keep, I want to just better care for them more intentionally versus more of a chore where it's like, oh, I have to water the plants, or, you know, when it just kind of feels like a weight versus an enjoyable thing. It's a little bit hard to explain, but I really do love and enjoy plant care. I love watering, I love cleaning the leaves, I love feeding, I love tracking their progress, and I just want to be more intentional with all of those things and take the time to savor it too. I feel like as my collection has grown, and maybe you feel the same way too, there was a shift at some point where it just stopped being like soothing and enjoyable, and then all of a sudden it's just like this long list of things we need to do to try to keep our collection afloat. So yeah, I want to be more mindful and intentional in their care, and just really enjoy and savor those that I have and want to keep. Something else I plan to do this year is, if you've been following me for a minute, and especially if you follow me over on Instagram, I tend to do experiments, whether it's with like a new substrate or a new fertilizer or a propagation medium or method, and I tend to have a lot of propagations from like one plant, for example, my marble queen pothos, and I would keep all the propagations for experiment's sake, but I don't want to do that. I'm not stopping experiments by any means because I love doing them and I think they're fun, and I think I learn a lot, and hopefully pass on to you what I learned, and maybe it's helpful for you too, or even just fun to see. But let's be real, I don't need to keep 50 or even 20 or 15 or 10 different cuttings from a marble queen pothos, or any plant for that matter. So when doing these kinds of experiments and propagations and things like that, I want to try to limit to like 3 to 5 cuttings per plant or per substrate or whatever it is that's happening. You know, it'll kind of vary depending on what the experiment is. But again, I don't need to keep a large amount like I was keeping every single cutting in the past. And then tacked onto the propagations, whatever I am propagating, I want to make sure that I have a plan of like, where are they going, who are they going to, and by what date, because yeah, I just don't need to be reproducing that many plants so that I don't have anywhere to go. And a good example of that is my alocasia black velvet. It gives me, or it gave me, because I actually got rid of the mother plant, so many corms, and I'm actually about to just get rid of a lot of the babies because nobody wants them anymore. And yeah, there's just, I mean, there's no need for me to try to grow all of those plants that nobody wants, I don't need or have space for, and yeah, there's nothing to do with them. So that's an example. The next one I wrote down separately, but it goes with the overall being intentional with the plants that I have and I choose to keep in their care, and that is to bring back my pest prevention spray regularly on my collection. I used to be so good about spraying my plants down like once a month-ish every time of their watering. It's just a DIY, super simple. I can note the ingredients down below. I think it's 3 ingredients, yeah. And last year I probably did this 0 times, not kidding. And you may remember I actually had a pretty big or a super annoying and reoccurring spider mite issue, and I'm not surprised because in a lot of ways my plants were a lot more neglected, and I didn't do anything to prevent pests all year long. So actually, I'm thankful that it wasn't a worse situation. One of the reasons or excuses I stopped doing it is that my pump sprayer broke, and then I got another pump sprayer that I was using solely for the pesticide, but then that one also broke. So, and I don't, the manual ones, you know, they hurt your finger after a while, especially when you have a large collection. But anyway, that excuse is out the window. I got myself an electric sprayer that should arrive soon, and you should see this or see me doing this pest prevention spray in my next chores video. So please hold me accountable. You should see me from time to time doing that or mentioning it, or the pump somewhere near me, but that is a big one. I do need to figure out how I'm going to keep track of what plants got sprayed when, sort of thing, because I don't, obviously they don't all get sprayed at the same time because they don't all get watered at the same time, and I can't spray them in place because it would just be really messy. So I will need to figure out how I will keep track of that, if at all possible. But I mean, even if it means every other time I'm watering, for good measure, I'm using my pest prevention spray, then so be it. It's worth it and it needs to be done. So look out for that in the next chores video because it should be done. Another thing I want to focus on this year is like planty creative projects. There are 2 things that I have in mind. One of them is I really want to style the kitchen now. Now that I have the grow racks, I really was able to, or I should be able to, clear out the kitchen from any of the props or extra plants I didn't have space for. So I want to properly style the kitchen with plants. And then another one is a fun kind of little living art project inspired by my friend J. Marie over on Instagram. So those are 2 projects I have in mind, but in general, I would like to do more creative things with plants, and whether it's for a gift or for experimental purposes or just to be creative. Like, I really want to make that a point, and I'm hoping to be able to do one like every other month, just to kind of keep creative juices flowing with the hobby. And the final one, and I'm even just a little bit nervous sharing it, because once I share it with you, if I fail at it, I will feel that much worse. I'm gonna share it with you anyway, because this is really something that I think I should be doing, especially as I mentioned all the previous things. I would like to go on a plant shopping freeze until March. So March 1st, technically, I could purchase another plant. I will say I should be getting a shipment of import plants sometime later this month, but that was arranged for back in November, so it doesn't count, right? But otherwise, I really would like to go on a plant shopping freeze. I'm not calling it a plant ban. I find it that when I do like restrictive things in my plans and goals, I don't often follow through, because I don't like to be told no, even if it comes from me. I want to feel like I am in charge of making this decision. So I'm calling it a plant shopping freeze. And, you know, unless I were to see like an ultimate wish list plant at an amazing price, then I really shouldn't be getting anything. Does that sound fair? I mean, I don't know, you tell me your thoughts. Wish me luck. That's it for my planting goals and intentions for 2025. I know that lots of people are talking about downsizing or not buying as many plants, or even leaving the hobby. Leaving the hobby is not something that I want or am aiming for. I just simply want to be more intentional and mindful about it, so that I can enjoy my plants more, and then also have more space to share more with you. So I'd love to know what you think and what some of your goals and intentions are for 2025. How was 2024 for you? Did you also go a little crazy and buying a ton of plants? This is gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon, and make sure you hold me accountable on this pest prevention spray. Bye.